But we need to keep the theme going, Virginia. What's going on over there?
I didn't know oatmeal put you through college.
It helped. I'm not going to lie. It helped.
All right. Well, we've been talking about anxiety, obviously established that that's a problem. But how do we deal with it? Russell Heiken is a psychotherapist. And first of all, why do we even get anxious in the first place? I know every Sunday, for some reason, I'm a little bit more anxious about the whole work week. I really am. It's been going on for years.
Well, you know, anytime there's change, there's always natural anxiety that follows with that. Typically what happens is there's an opportunity or some type of activating event, like going back to work on Monday, or going back to school, or possibly giving a presentation. And when that happens, you tend to sort of have some negative thoughts about that situation. So that activating event leads us to maybe catastrophize and make things worse than they really are.
Right.
Or personalize things, saying, you know what, nobody at work really supports me, so I'm just not going to work that hard on this presentation because nobody's...
Just avoid it.
Avoid it altogether. And when you avoid it, boy, that's a really critical point, because when you avoid it, you can choose to attack that anxiety and dispute those irrational thoughts, or you can spiral further down into those negative thoughts and have even more anxiety.
Oh, sure, because you obsess about it and just make the problem even bigger.
Yeah, and when that occurs, you often need some type of support to get yourself out of that deep anxiety state.
And let's talk about that. A lot of kids have mixed emotions. They're excited to go see their friends back at school, but they know that they're maybe going to get more homework or have a different teacher, and so that can really stress them out.
Yeah, you hit it right on the head. School is such mixed emotions. They want to share their stories for the summer and have a great time, but you know, they also have some anxieties and particular stresses, and I like to break this up into a couple of different categories. The first one is the who category. Who's going to be my teacher this year? Who's going to be in my class? And who's going to sit with me at lunch?
Right.
And the other is what I call the enoughs. Am I smart enough to do well this year? Am I good enough to make the team or get that part in the play that I want? And really, am I cool enough to make sure that nobody really bothers me?
Right, and especially if kids are going to change schools altogether, that can really be catastrophic.
Oh, change middle school to high school is a huge change in an individual's life. They go from a small school to a really large school. They're no longer the biggest kids or the smallest kids. It can just really affect these kids, and so you need to do a little prevention to make sure.
If it does start to spiral out of control, what kind of out of control are you talking about? I know that my little sister would get sick at her stomach before she went to school when she was little.
You know, some kids get sick, some kids cry. So first you have to judge the level of anxiety.
Right.
You know, if you have a student who has some typical anxieties, then just listen to them and validate that those are real anxieties. Don't try to minimize it or even joke about it. And you know what, if they want to cry, let them, because sometimes those tears are just the best way to get things out.
Right, it's really normal, but at the same time you want to make sure that they understand that you're on their team and you get it.
Exactly. You know, another great thing to do is do a little prevention up front and get kids excited about the return to school and involve them in things like back to school shopping, which is always fun.
Yeah.
And, you know, tell them what great things they're going to be doing and maybe help them look forward to certain events that are coming up at the start of school. That first week can be fun.
Yeah. I understand you brought a diagram to kind of explain this and help parents out.
Yes, yes.
There it is right there.
There it is. As I was saying before, it's the opportunity presents itself. And when that opportunity happens, we tend to sort of have some negative thoughts about that situation, and that leads to avoidance and excuses. And I was saying before, that's a really crucial point, because you really need to attack those avoidances and excuses to avoid going further into withdrawal and anxiety.
Well, and you had mentioned also something about how you can prepare to make it sound like it's fun, but also you were saying, you know, they've had the whole summer off, so the routine is kind of out of whack. So you suggest starting the routine before school actually starts?
Yeah, it's almost like going into training for a sporting event. It's, you know, getting up at 6:30 in the morning when you've been getting up at 9 or 10 or 11 or 12, depending on the age, all summer is really hard. So you need to start backing that time off a little bit. You know, maybe the 2 weeks before school, your kids are getting up at 8:30 or 9, and then the week before school, you get them up at regular time, because they get, you know, really tired and crappy no matter what age they are when school starts.
Now, how bad does it have to get? What symptoms should you be looking for if you think they should go and get some professional help?
Well, I think, you know, when it starts to impair life, when it's really difficult for that student to get to school, and it's okay to be sick to your stomach occasionally, but if it becomes excessive to the point where it's impairing your life, then it's a problem. As a parent, I say trust your instincts, and if you feel like your student is having more anxiety than they should, they probably are. But also remember, school anxiety should be just temporary.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Heiken. Great advice.
Thank you very much.
Matt Chambers.
Well, Virginia, maybe a snack would take the edge off those back-to-school butterflies. What do you think? Need a quick pre-made snack?